This episode of the Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. You can support the show by going to patreon.com/thewildernesspodcast. Our supporter of the week is Dean Russin. So thank you for being our supporter of the week. If Patreon's not your thing, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/dills, where you can kind of buy me a coffee. So I want to thank iRoll and Timbuktu25 for buying me a coffee this week. Welcome to episode 166 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm your host, Dills, and joining with me today is the trio is all here, Magpies and Heartless. How's it going, fellas?
What's good, everybody? How's it going?
Hey, doing well.
So we got some fun stuff to talk about today. We got the big Steam release happened. So we can talk about that. There's some cool stuff there. A proposed dev blog for the Shooting Stars. If you played back in the day, you might recall this. It's very similar with a bit of an old school RuneScape twist, I suppose. Not twist, but less powerful. And of course, we get an update on the clan rework that they've been working on for, oh god, it's been like 2 years now, hasn't it? So I showed that off a little bit, so it looks pretty cool. And we're gonna get into all of that shortly. But until then, Magpies, you want to take it away? What have you been up to?
I have not been up to much, actually. In the last 2 weeks, I've been working hard, real life stuff. I had a couple assignments that were due. And then in-game, I was basically just going for solo CMs, trying to get my third kit and trying to break my dry streak. It took me 127 raids, but I finally saw a purple. I saw an Elder Maul, and then the next raid I saw, these were in solo, so I should say I got an Elder Maul, and then the next raid I got an Arcane. So
nice. Those are the ones you want to see, isn't it?
Yeah, the worst of the 3 mega rares and the worst Cox item, but I needed the Elder Maul for the collection log, so I don't mind. It is what it is. And then the Arcane is, yeah, it's just toilet paper at this point. It's like under 600k, so it's actually better in a solo CM or in any kind of challenge mode, I'm pretty sure, to not get an Arcane and just get, like, because the normal non-unique loot is going to be on average more than the Arcane at this point.
It's just worth the pet roll, really, if you're looking for it.
The Elder Maul, it's sitting at 10 millish now. Has that gone up? That sounds like it's gone up in price.
No, it's actually went down. It used to be like 13 mil a couple years ago, but it's pretty stable at 10 mil.
Interesting. Okay, I always thought it was like around the same as a Din's Bulwark. Yeah, I'm checking right now. Oh, and you're right. It
would be if it wasn't on the mega rare table.
True.
Yeah,
that's
it's just as niche pretty much. But yeah, I've been trying to go for Thermi tasks. I have got none. I got a bunch of Inferno tasks, but I actually just kept dying in them. Doing dumb mistakes. Yeah, and then I got another Inferno kill earlier today, so slowly grinding away. And then that's pretty much it. I've slowly been working on 91 fishing as well, and when I say slowly, I mean like really slowly, like 60, 70k a day maybe is my target, and then hopefully that means I'll get it by like 2023 maybe. We'll see how it goes.
How do you train your fishing? Do you go full efficiency?
So sometimes I'll do like AFK barbarian fishing, and then sometimes, like, if I'm just listening to a podcast or something, listening to the Wilderness Podcast, check out the Wilderness Podcast.
Yeah. It's a pretty good show.
Yeah, easy plug. I'll like put it on, and I've tried to like improve my ability to click in the game because I play on really fast DPI. A lot of people play on like 800 or 900, and apparently I'm weird because I play on like 2500.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
2500?
Yeah.
That's so fast. You touch your mouse and it goes across 2 screens at that DPI.
You know, it actually does. Like, I'm just moving my mouse
Gaming.
now.
How do you switch?
I click shit. I don't know. I just,
It's crazy, dude.
I just wanted to play on high DPI because when I go to play shooters, if I ever go back to playing other video games, probably not at this point, but I don't want to be hamstrung, which I know, like, if you're playing most shooters, you want lower DPI, but I like being able to move around really quickly, and I also like having a lot of subtle mouse movements. Even when I'm just like doing work, I want to be able to like move my hand as little as possible. I'm efficient even when it comes to exerting energy at this point. But
nice.
In all seriousness, so I've been trying to like learn how to like 3-tick fish while getting cooking experience, which is like the weirdest thing ever. It took me like 30 minutes to figure out the science behind it. But basically, like, you start a 3-tick. This is going to be some really sweaty stuff, but you start like a 3-tick action.
Out. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so you do a 3-tick action to start 3-tick fishing, which is like you either try to make guam tar or something, and then once you start that like cycle of guam tar into fishing, you can then switch your guam tar out to cutting the fish that you caught and eating it at the same time, and then going back to fishing. And if you do it right, you'll still be fishing like every 3 ticks, which just means you get like a little bit of cooking experience. It's not like worth doing unless you actually want carpal tunnel, but for me, I just like practicing having more precise clicks, because that's the one thing with me, because I play on such high DPI. Sometimes my clicks are all over the place, especially if I'm either sleepy or inebriated. So that's literally the most exciting thing that's happened to me this week.
You can do it with carom ones as well.
Yeah, totally. You can also like cook on a fire or something and light a fire. I think you can do a bunch of stuff. I remember like Wooks's way back in the day, Jagex had like a skilling competition for the most experience earned. And I remember by the time it finished, Wooks was just like fishing while cooking while fire making. It was like pretty crazy.
Damn.
So that's pretty much it for me. Like, that's literally how boring my last few weeks have been in terms of old school gains. Haven't done much. Is that everything? Pretty sure that's everything.
That's pretty sweet. Well, got stuff done. At least you got the Elder Maul in the collection log. That's that's there now. Heartless, how's your week been?
Oh, I've actually had a pretty exciting week. I got a few more drops. So
nice.
You're so spooned, I swear to God.
You think I'm spooned, Magpies?
How many weeks has it been since you have not started with, dude, I had an amazing week.
Look, dude, I just like this game and I just grind it, so
even if it's just drops. A bird's nest, it's a great drop.
All right, what you get today?
All right, so I replaced, because I finished mining, so I wanted another chill, like, vibing activity, I say, that I can just kind of AFK and relax. So I started rune crafting. So I got 3 rune crafting levels.
What level's your rune crafting?
It's at 80 now.
Oh, cool.
So I just really started at Blood. So the Sanguinesti demands sacrifices. So I need to stay on top of that.
Yep.
So there we go. Started out really enjoying Bloods, I have to say. That's such an enjoyable activity.
Is it just because it's like, is it enjoyable compared to the other ways you have to train rune crafting, or would you just say in general?
Just in general, that's like the kind of level of AFK that I enjoy. Like just 1 or 2 clicks here and there. Slow XP. I don't really mind the XP rates. 30k an hour is fine. It's higher than that if you pay attention.
Yeah, they fly by.
It's like it's much better than agility. Agility is a lot more clicks, like rooftops.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, rune crafting I enjoy. You don't even look at the XP bar, and then you just get a level. It's great. I
look at the percentage, and I'll get, because I do it all day at work. I can runecraft on my one monitor, and I work on the other. And I don't get much experience, but I'll get like 5%, which, I mean, it's not a lot, but it feels like a nice chunk when I'm at 94 right now. So it's just like,
you're up there.
Yeah, I'm like, I got 4% today.
Yeah.
If I do that, like 20 more times in 20 days? Oh, we're gonna be almost at 95.
It's slow, and I know I've just started, so saying it's enjoyable right now is not. I don't know. It seems a little strange for people. I know a lot of people 99 rune crafting, but you know what? I need the bloods, so it's really working out, and it's motivating to do.
I do find it enjoyable. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and you get a lot of bloods out of it. Like, the experience rates are slow, but the amount of runes you craft is actually like surprisingly high.
Yeah, so I think it's about 300k bloods for 99, so those are going to come in handy.
Nice.
Besides that, I went back to Slayer. I kind of had a good long think about what tasks I wanted and what tasks I didn't want. Basically, I just wrote down all the tasks. Basically, anything that has an upgrade or an item that I want from the collection log for my collection, I put on the I'll do list, and then everything else I'm just going to skip for the most part. So I boiled it down to after doing 2 months of God Wars Dungeon, I unlocked Aviansies, so rip me. But yeah, I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna do Slayer, it's on my list of upgrades. So I threw it on there. Greater Demons, I still need a second spear. And I didn't have a staff, or don't have a Staff of the Dead. Spoiler alert, I did get one.
Nice.
Oh my god.
And then what else did I? Yeah, my Zami luck has been great. What else?
What would you use the Staff of the Dead for?
It's useless. It's just it looks cool.
Okay.
So, anyways, I made this whole list of what I would do and don't want to do, and I got a Greater Demon task. Did the whole thing, which it takes a long time because you can only get like 5 or 6 kills per trip. I could go into the details of how I do the trips, but basically there's like 2 methods I can choose from. You either tank the melee hits or you tank the specials, and they're both. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't matter which one you pick. I've tested over 100 of each. It's just Krill either hits you a 50 or he doesn't. So it's just pure RNG when it comes to that guy.
Yeah, it sounds.
I got a second hilt. I think I was about 300 KC on my first task, so it was pretty shit. 3 or 4 steam battle staffs. You hate to see those. Same rate as the spear.
Nice.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And then I got a second task, like essentially back to back. I sent it, and I got Staff of the Dead on my second trip, the first kill, and then 2 kills later I got the spear. So I just dipped. So I finished the log, besides the pet, which is pretty exciting.
Damn.
So Staff of Dead you can turn into like Staff of Light, which you just added a Sarah's Light, which I have. It's basically the exact same weapon, but it has it counts as a Sarah item. But since I'm done that boss, I didn't do that. I just stuck one of my 6 extra magic fangs on it, and now I have a toxic Staff of the Dead.
Right. You get a whole whack of things to customize that staff with, right?
Yeah.
You got the Gothics.
And you can take off the fang whenever you want. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just because you cannot take off the Sarah's Light. So I figured I'll put the fang on for now, and I'll just take it off if I want to use it. But in case it's just a fashionscape item, I think that item looks so cool.
It's also like the Toxic Staff of the Dead is a pretty good budget Kodai. I know you've been getting into like TOB, you can use it there. You could probably use it in Slayer if you want to just like manual cast everything.
Could bring it to Bandos as well instead of a wand. Just get a little bit more damage. Yeah, it's definitely got some niche uses, and I don't think there's many Iron Men that can spare an extra magic fang to make a Toxic Staff of the Dead. So
right,
it's pretty useless. But I have so many skills, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the Staff of the Dead is such an interesting item. I remember when I first started back in like 2013, 2014, the Staff of the Dead for some reason was like everyone was using it because it has melee stats that are similar to like a Dragon Long, I believe, a Dragon Long sword. So it's got kind of strong melee stats for a staff. It has this interesting little perk where there's a 12.5% chance that the staff will negate the rune cost of a combat spell. And then even the special attack. Let me go look at the special attack.
So the special attack basically gives you a whole bunch of protect from melee defense. So it's almost impossible to get stacked out while you're under. It lasts for a whole minute as well. It costs 100%, but it basically just turns you into a tank against melee stuff, so you can't get KO'd, which is really good for wilderness content. So I might bring it along if I happen to be like telegrabbing wines or something, where I only need to run a short distance, and I'm usually quite good at tanking, so...
Cool. It's important to note, too, as soon as you switch that weapon, you'll lose that special effect. But I remember the 1 or 2, maybe 3 times I've been Rev PKing back when the Rev Caves was like the way it was originally. I remember, so like the wild boys and gals, we went PKing, and there was like a group of us versus another group of PKers that were way better, and somebody popped that Staff of the Dead special attack, but they were the first one to attack people, so everyone piled on that dude with the staff, and he took like no damage, and their team just destroyed us. So it was
stacks with protect from melee as well, so you're essentially unkillable with it on.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's very good though. It's one of those items where I'd never go back for it specifically unless I was out of things to do, but it's nice to have along the way. Right? So my goal was the second spear, but I was pretty stoked to get the staff. So I was very spooned at Krill. I got a staff, 2 spears, and 2 healths in like 350 KC.
Damn.
Did you get any spare shards?
Yeah, I have 4 blades.
Yeah, that's nice. That's pretty much all you need. Then you're set, aren't you?
Which is probably, I don't know what the rate is, but I have like close to 2,000 total God Wars dungeon kills. So I imagine I'm like ish on the rate. They've been nice and they haven't. Some people I see just get like 12 God Sword ones and never a 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gotten in like 4 of each, so it's pretty nice. So I made the second ZGS and I threw it in the stash unit.
Oh wow!
I think you need like 6 total because you also need a BGS for another one, right?
Well, I got Kriara to go and it could go ages there, and I still have to get the Bandos hilt, so a lot to do still there. But besides that, I topped a little bit and I got a second hilt as well. So that was
a second hilt.
Yeah, I'm super spooned at Tob. Like 120 KC, 5 purples already.
What's the hilt from
the Avernic Defender hilt?
Yeah. That's an item. So I forgot about that.
Yeah, I got in my first a couple weeks ago, so maybe 3 weeks.
You could just put it in Death's Coffer or something.
What I did is this is gonna become relevant today on the new dev blog. I sold it to the Rogues General Store for high alch value, so 1.5 mil. So my iron got 1.5 mil cash. And then I bought it on my main for 2.5 mil cash, and then sold it on the G for 44 mil. So I got to split out the boys at TOB, plus my iron got a little bit of cash. So it was a win-win for me.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, that's fair enough, actually. That's pretty smart.
I have a friend who does tons of Tob, and I think he has 12 hilts. So he's gotten, something like 15 mil just from selling hilts to the Rogues General Store. But they patched that in this most recent dev blog, so unfortunate.
Sucks.
Yeah, because it's weird. Like 44 mil is a lot to have on an alt, right? But 1.5 mil is still like important on the iron. So if I got another one right now and that wasn't an option, I would probably drop it over because that's a lot of money. But still 1.5 mil, it adds up. The more you're bound to get tons of Avernic Defender hilts if you do a lot of Tob.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyways, that was my week. It was pretty exciting.
Oh wow, very cool.
What about you, Dills? What have you been up to?
Oh, let's see. Let's start. Well, first things first. I probably haven't mentioned it, but this is not RuneScape related, but it was just strange. And so RuneScape has made me like, I feel like I'm scam proof from so many real world threats, right? I see this with my girlfriend who's constantly getting scammed, or someone's like, hey, click this link, and she's like, what do you think? And I'm like, no, don't click that link from that random Instagram account. So anyways, I like to my one of my guilty pleasures in life is like watching like trash reality TV, like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette.
That is not trash, dude. You're alienating a lot of people.
It's
reality shows are fun. It's all good.
It's no. The Bachelor and Bachelorette are so interesting. So I watch it up until like the third last episode. Once it starts getting all too much romance, but there's like, it's such a strange show, and if you have to watch it, I think, with the right mindset. But it is probably one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. Like the stuff that happens on it between the people, it's hard to explain unless you watch it. Like it's the type of comedy that comes from it can only happen when you have one guy or girl who's like the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, and then you bring 30 people who are going to try to marry this person at the end, and you have 30 people all compete. It's such a weird type of competition.
Yeah.
So it's strange, but so with the Bachelorette, here's a quick example of why I love it so much. They'll have the Bachelorette every episode, like 7 Bachelorettes get sent home. But they start off with 30. But this season, in like episode 3, once they voted off like a ton of the women already, the producers were like, how could we start drama on this show? Oh, I know. Let's just bring in another 15 women who, for no reason, we'll just bring these 15 women on, and that'll create a divide between the two groups of women. And that's what happens. And they become very mean, I guess. They're just very like high school gossip, spreading rumors and stuff. It is insane. But I love it so much. But anyway, so my favorite of the reality shows is Big Brother. Do you guys ever watch that show?
A little bit. When you said like trashy reality shows, I thought you were talking about like the proper trashy, like MTV, the Date My Mom or Date My Son or whatever the hell, like those ones.
No, I guess I'm not true trash. I'm a few levels above it. It's like the more of the high class reality TV shows.
Yeah.
Big Brother is actually so good. I love that show a lot. It's not for like the comedic reasons that The Bachelorette has. Big Brother is super interesting, and it actually, you have to be like really smart in that show because it's very there's a lot of like deceiving going on. Anywho, point is, there's a new season of Big Brother coming out, so I was on Twitter and I'm like talking about, I'm excited about these house guests that are showing up, and then I get this person who starts messaging me on Twitter, and I got invited to a virtual Survivor competition, and it looked interesting, but then I had all these red flags going off because this Twitter account had like 150 followers. They brought me to a Discord server that had like 10 people in it. They sent me a video. They're like, watch this video, it'll teach you how to do it. The video had like 150 views. It had no audio in the video, and it all looks very strange. And I was like, oh no, like they're trying to lure me for the Tebow again. Like this is, they found my personal Twitter account. Then they invite me to the Survivor thing. Okay, I didn't actually think that the twisted bow part, but I was like, I'm playing along with it. They're like, so how old are you? Oh, whereabouts do you live? And I'm like kind of answering these questions, sort of like I'm being very vague about it, but it's to the point where I'm like, if I didn't play RuneScape, I would have just been like, no, they're doing something for fun. They're inviting me to this virtual Survivor show where people can just like have fun voting each other out, and it's all done on Discord, and it's all for fun. But since I play RuneScape, I'm like, no, what are they trying to get from this? They've got an angle they're playing. So anyways, I'm playing along, and it starts in April, and I said I'm down and I'm going to sign up. They said there's going to be an application I have to figure out, so that's the next step. Maybe next episode after that, there'll be an update, and we'll see how far I go. And who knows, maybe I'll be the winner of this virtual Survivor match.
And then you'll be on the next Bachelor or Bachelorette.
Could you imagine? My girlfriend would be fuming, but still.
If you want to play Survivor, you just need to go to TOB World 416. That'll get the blood flowing.
What's in 416?
That's the free-for-all world.
Oh, is that no good, eh?
Very topical.
Yep.
Interesting. So yeah, that's not RuneScape related totally, but anywho, in RuneScape though, I've been bouncing between a whole bunch of things.
Did you fix your internet, by the way?
I did. There's my update. I fixed my internet. I had my friend come over who is an electrician, and he figured the whole thing out. I would never have figured it out, but it was like there's some connection that wasn't working on the main floor, which was causing it to not come upstairs to this new office that I'm in. But yeah, Ethernet's working now, so I'm back in the wilderness. I'm back killing wildy bosses, and no notable drops just yet. But I've been having fun killing Venenatus. Well, safe spotting it, so I'm not really killing it properly, but it's pretty good. I'm learning Spanish too. There's a lot of gold farmers in this game, and you don't really notice it until you start like noticing it, I guess. That sounds silly, but like I'm learning Spanish. La Dila is my new favorite saying. It means what a pain.
Nice.
So I've been also killing Scorpia. You make no money there. I usually leave in the negatives.
Yeah.
Just because the drops are crap, but
pure trash there.
Yeah. It's not a bad boss to kill though. It's kind of enjoyable, and you can kind of turn off your brain a little bit. You just got to pay attention to see if PKers come. But
you get massive KCs per hour there, don't you?
Apparently, that's what the gear Discord says. But like, that's you'd want to bring like a Sang staff. You'd want to bring a bunch of the blighted ice barrage spells. They're a little expensive though. I think they're like 1.5k each. So like, I bring 100, which is 150k if I get PK'd. Which even to me, I'm like, that's a little. Whoa, it's a little bit. That's a lot to risk.
I'd imagine you bring Tormented Bracelet and then protect item the occult as well.
Yeah, you bring
Slayer Helm or something.
Yeah, you bring the four things to risk. Which the Tormented Bracelet, occult. You got your Trident, and then I had one extra item. I don't remember what it was. It's something though. You bring something else though.
Do you see many PKers up there?
I don't. not compared to the other bosses, but you still see them. And here's the tricky part. So the other things I've been doing as well is, there's basically like 4 main wilderness bosses that they added in a rejuvenation update. But there's actually how many they got? They got 4, 5. There's 6 including the KBD. So you got the Chaos Elemental, Venenatis, you got Vedion, you have Callisto, and then Scorpia. So with Vedion, Callisto, and Venenatis, you're able to safe spot them. So you can glitch them out and basically AFK kill them for the most part. Vedion, not so much. It's a bit of a pain, but you can still kind of do it. So Scorpia is like the odd one out for that. I was going to say the trio, but there's 4 of them. So for the group, Scorpia is the odd one out because it has its own Slayer. It has its own cave. So there's no place to safe spot it. And it's really deep in the wilderness. So the problem is when a PKer comes to kill you, they have a really high chance of actually killing you, because when you're killing Scorpion, I think I mentioned this before, but you have to pray range to protect yourself from the little dudes that are hitting you, which means when somebody shows up, they can easily freeze you. And because you're in like 50 wilderness, it's kind of hard to get out unless you can there's a hut with magic axes and like these NPCs that are aggressive. And if you have a lockpick, you can get in there, and it's single combat. So a lot of people will get in there and they'll X-log, so they just close their client once they're in there, and they just hope that the PKers can't get the magic axes to stop attacking.
Yeah.
But the big problem is like I start panicking when I get people chasing me, and then I usually like have no idea where I'm running. I'm just clicking frantically around the map trying to get away. So your plans go out the window. So no, I don't see too many PKers there, but when you do see them, it's like you're in much more danger. I've been doing a lot of wilderness bossing, and I wanted to learn how to safe spot Callisto, and I wanted to learn how to safe spot Vedion. Vedion's a huge pain in the ass. You're going to take damage a bunch, or you're not going to be able to AFK it. There's 2 methods, but it's just like a huge pain. But luckily, if you see a PKer coming, you can still, if you're paying attention, you can still click and teleport out, because you're still in about 30 wilderness. I think you're in 32, actually, so you have to run a bit, but still. And then Callisto's same idea. When you safe spot it, you're not too far from 30 wilderness, and you're in single combat, so you're pretty well safe. So Scorpia is like the odd one out, where the only reason you're not going to get PK'd too much is because the only people who are killing Scorpia for the most part are people hunting the pet. No one's killing it for the actual loot. I mean, that's a huge draw for the PKers too. They want to kill you. They want to kill you when you've killed like 10 Venenatis. You've killed Venenatis 10 times, and they hope they can pick up like a mil worth of loot that you've gotten from it. Scorpia, it's not like that at all. You'll have like 120k maybe.
Yeah. Plus your risk is like, I think you prioritize. I've done quite a bit of it. You just wear like monk's robes and like a mitre or something.
Yeah.
So your gear is really cheap that you're risking.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Like mystic boots, stuff like that. PK, it's just not really worth their time.
Yeah. The best chance, if you want to be PKing people at Scorpia, you want to get them before they've even gotten the first kill, because then you can get that big stack of blighted ice barrages. And
as someone who does PK, the worst part about Scorpia is when you go in the cave, you get aggroed by the babies, then you have to wait 10 seconds to hop to the next world. So scouting takes a really long time.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Which is really annoying. Whereas somewhere like Venenatis, you can just hop around until you see Venenatis, because it will render before players can see you. And then you're like, oh, okay, someone's in this world, everyone hop in, and then you go down and kill them. Same thing, like when you're in the Slayer cave, you can see people's cannons render before you see them, so you know that there's someone in the room.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, with Scorpia, the most dangerous part is running to Scorpia and leaving Scorpia, because you have to go past the lever that's there. There's a few kind of hot zones when you're traveling to or from a bank when you're at Scorpia. If you got the pet, a question for you. Would you go behind the wilderness castle and try to telly out through the obelisk, or would you go through the net past the hellhounds and out to the lever? That's a good... I've kind of thought about it. I almost feel... That's a great question. I feel like whatever I tell you now is going to be like I'm not going to do it when I'm like actually getting the pet if I do, because you get the adrenaline running, you're not thinking straight, and I think I would literally walk all the way back to 30 Wilderness. For some reason, it feels safer.
Surely not. That can't be safer.
No, it can't, because you have to walk past the Callisto safe spot, some green drag areas.
May as well just obelisk down if you're going that way.
That's the smartest, I think.
The problem with the net is there's a lot more traffic there, and the hellhounds can aggro you, and then you can't log out. Like, I think the safest play would be to go behind the castle, and if you see anyone, you just immediately log out.
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to say probably the best thing to do is just to aggro a hellhound, box them, and X-log. But that would be my guess.
But then you would still need to get out of the Wilderness, right? Once you log back in.
Exactly. But you could scout it with a friend, or ask a friend to come and help you.
You can log in like 3 to 5 business days. You don't have to. You don't gotta get that instant delivery.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
True. This is true. I mean, another trick that I think some people would do is they would get to the free-to-play area and then hop to maybe a free-to-play world, which has a better chance of it being empty. But you are probably not going to be able to eat your food, because it's probably going to be members' food you have, unless for some reason you're bringing lobsters.
I mean, Wilderness is usually so dead. The chances of you getting the pet and simultaneously running into a PKer is like very, very small.
Yeah, but yeah,
you gotta have those contingency plans when you go in the Wildy, though.
Oh, you do, because it does happen. It can be a little bit more busy than you'd expect at times.
Yeah,
it's an interesting place. I was gonna get into a whole spiel about how being in the Wilderness, I've seen so many wholesome moments happen, both as a PKer and a PVMer, where I have. So I'll get into it right now. Actually, I'll make it quick though. So many times I'll be getting jumped by PKers, and as I'm running away, somebody else will fight the PKer and let me get, just so that I can get away. And one time it wasn't even another PKer. The person skulled up and everything, and I don't understand why. They had a crossbow and everything, and it happened because I decided to do some I got killed so many times at Venenatus. I was like, I need to get vengeance, and I went in as the PKer to kill some Venenatus PVMers. And so many times somebody else jumped in. I was killing green dragon like gold farmers, and I'd have people tagging me so that I couldn't kill them and they could get away. Crazy stuff. But yeah, it's a very interesting place. You truly never know what you're going to expect. But that's been most of my week. Nothing interesting has really happened. And as I mentioned, I'm kind of bouncing all over the place with my tasks. I'm during the day I'll do some rune crafting while I'm at work. I'll do some hunter if I'm bored and want a skill. But I need to get 91 thieving so I can finally do my one of my last elite diaries, the desert one. And it's the only skill I need to level to get that elite diary done. But I've had the realization that thieving is probably one of the worst skills in the game.
Oh, come on. Thieving was my first 99.
It's really not that bad. It's terrible early. It's really good when you're like 88. You're gonna be cruising.
Here's my problem with it. It's so arty nights or even pickpocketing it's not fun. You sit there and you spam click. That's it. You just click. That's not fun to do. I can do it for like 30 minutes and then I'm like, I need to do something else. Sometimes I'll put on a show, but sometimes there's a place for it where it's not the worst to do, I guess. But yeah, you're just spam clicking the whole time. So I can't really enjoy it too much and you're not making a whole lot of money. Pyramid Plunder, it's a little bit more fun, but the money you make from it is from the Pharaoh Scepter, which is so rare that like you can't really bank on getting it consistently. So again, you're just kind of doing it for the experience. You're not really watching your gold go up, which is sometimes, that's why I like rune crafting. I think you can watch your experience go up, but then you can also watch the stack of bloods go up. So it's a little bit satisfying there. And then I tried to do thieving some of the chests. They have a few chests all over the place. They have one in the Wilderness by that rogue's castle. And I went to go and try to do it. And you make like 30k experience an hour. It's so low. And you don't make that much money. You make a little bit of money, but it's still only 30k. And I tried some of the other chests, and unless you're doing, I think it's the Dorgish Dorgish, I forget what it's called.
That weird ass chest there, yeah.
Yeah, there's chests there, and you can make like 350k gold an hour, plus you get decent experience. But that's like the only chests that's worth doing. Everything else is not the greatest loot or even worst experience. And so thieving, it doesn't really feel like it has a satisfying and fun way to train it, which has now made me feel that it's my least favorite skill in the game. Agility it used to be, but the Hallowed Sepulchre is kind of fun to do. So that's where I'm at with things. What are your guys' least favorite skill?
Probably, definitely mining. Definitely
mining 100%, Magpies. I'm with you. It's atrocious.
Is it because it's slow experience, or it's not fun, or not a lot of money?
Slow,
it's everything.
Not fun.
Everything.
It's just not good.
Volcanic mine's pretty nice with like friends, but even then, like, I'll get bored of volcanic mine after after an hour or two tops. And that too, like, the problem with volcanic mine is it's not one of those, like, in raids when people die, it's fine. I don't care. If someone dies in TOB, it's fine. I don't care. Plus, like, I do raids for fun, so I just meme around. But when I'm doing mining, I'm actually stressed about finishing mining as fast as possible. So I always want to go with a good VM team, just so that I don't have to spend more time doing volcanic mine if I'm not getting, like, the fastest experience that I can, if that makes sense.
Because it's based on your teammates at volcanic mine. It's not like where you just carry someone like in chambers or even TOB when someone dies. You can just, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Usually you can just carry them through the room, but if you die at volcanic mine, it's over. Right?
Yep. Pretty much.
I've heard they have a pretty toxic Discord.
I have not used the Discord, but I can imagine.
Sounds like we have to do an expose piece on that Discord. Oh boy. Yeah, mining, I don't mind too much. Motherload mining to me is a all right way to train it. It's pretty
I
FK,
I don't hate Motherload mine like Magpies does. It's just like that's 30k experience per hour.
Yeah.
At best, really, at best. So it's not good.
I think I would take 30k experience an hour if it was AFK similar to Motherload mine for thieving.
Yeah, but thieving you can get like upwards of 300k an hour, can't you? Doing that pyramid plunder.
Yeah, at 91 you can. Maybe at 81 it's
150 at 81.
Is it? Okay, 150.
Yeah, I've done a lot of pyramid plunder.
Okay, so that's fair. And then Arty Knights are decent experience. The problem is that you guys ever play Cookie Clicker?
Nope.
No.
Okay, you click on a cookie and then you get money from it, and then you can buy things that will click your cookie for you. It's one of those idle games, but I feel like I'm playing a worse version of Cookie Clicker when I'm thieving, and it doesn't feel good. So anyways, that's something I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because it's the last skill I need to do, and I get burnt out from it real quick. I'm at 88, and I'm so close yet so far away. So that's something I need to figure out. But we'll see. Maybe next episode I'll have figured it out. Maybe not. Only time will tell. We got a lot of fun things to talk about today, so let's hop right into the news. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's do it up.
Alrighty, so the big day was here last week. Actually, for most people, it's not really that big of a deal, but for some others, it is. Old School RuneScape has finally been released on Steam, and some people are very excited for this. I've heard what people are raving about the most, it seems like, is a new client that is now in C++ instead of the regular client, which is in RuneScript, I think it's called.
Yeah, which is like a Java-based language, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it, so I rely on people on Reddit to kind of tell me what this means. So people say this could mean more capabilities for the game in the future if they continue to build off the C++ client. Forgive me if I'm getting things mixed up or not explaining things properly when it comes to code, because I don't quite understand it. But that happened. So now if you're using the Old School RuneScape client, it's a lot smoother because there's no capped frame rates, I believe. So it just feels a little bit smoother. but many of us are still going to be playing on RuneLite. So for the most part, this is the reason this is a pretty big deal for, I guess, the game is it brings a lot of eyes onto it, and you can already see it on the subreddit and in game. There's some new players that are finding the game through Steam and they're trying it out.
Yeah, it's really weird because Old School has like one of the most toxic communities I've ever seen, but it also has like the potential to be one of the nicest. And
it's both. It's polarizing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Schrodinger's community. It's a quantum superposition of toxicity. But the last time I remember something like this happening was the mobile release, and the Steam client like update brought a lot of those same memories back. You had like a lot of people on the subreddit who just joined the game, and like I remember I saw one post where this guy talked about how he was hooked after joining on Steam, and people just loved it, and they like gave him a bunch of awards and everything on Reddit. Just because like they're excited to see the game grow. So it's kind of nice how like a lot of the community is excited for the game doing well. And this is a socially based game, so any value that the game has grows with more people. So it's definitely good if more people get into it.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking on the weekend because you can see how many how many people are consecutively playing a game off of Steam, and I saw like 6,000 people were using the Steam client. So that's not a whole lot, but at the same time, it is. If those are all new players who are trying the game out, that's a nice chunk, and
yeah, you
can only imagine how many tens of thousands of new players might start playing this game now. So that
totally.
It was pretty neat. And if you're someone who likes to collect like badges or achievements, they do have achievements on the Steam page on Steam for the game. And so what a lot of people have been doing, they've logged in to grab their achievements, and that is it. So let me quickly run through the achievements.
They're pretty simple.
Yeah, they are simple. I thought they were going to be much more intense. So I'll tell you what I mean. So the first achievement is complete the tutorial. The next achievement is reach total level 100, complete the cook's assistant quest, reach level 20 combat, complete the vampire slayer quest, complete the demon slayer quest, enter the wilderness, complete the dragon slayer quest, complete a clue scroll, use the home teleport with any spellbook, vote in a poll or view poll results, visit Death's Domain, ride the canoe in Lumbridge, equip a mithril scimitar, chat clothing with Thessalia and Varrock, equipped fancy boots or fighting boots from Stronghold of Security, pass through Alcarid Lumbridge Gate without paying, craft some air runes in the air altar, catch a tune at Musa Point, visit the general stores in Lumbridge, Falador, Varrock, Edgeville, Remington, Alcarad, and Karamja. So they're very free-to-play tailored, is what I've noticed.
This looks like free-to-play easy diaries, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, if you're someone who likes to collect those, you can log in and get a whole whack of them. One thing that I thought was pretty neat was how the game is marketed on Steam. So I don't think it's like this anymore, but when it was first released, it had a big banner on the Steam homepage, the store homepage for Steam, that said, now available, Old School RuneScape. It had very cool artwork. It was like very, high res poly. I think I saw somebody describe it that way, and I was like, I'm going to use that. But it looks really cool. It's kind of like not Minecraft, but it has that sort of style. It just looks really neat. And when you open up the page, they have a bunch of screenshots and they have a video that you can watch. But I was looking at the screenshots and I was like, we've all played so much of Old School RuneScape, we kind of take it for granted. But looking at the screenshots of the game on the store page, I tried to look at it from like a person who never played Old School RuneScape before. And damn, Old School RuneScape looks pretty appealing for all the different activities you can do. So I was like thinking, like a new player is going to see this and they're going to be like, holy shit, like this game's got a lot of people know the game RuneScape, but I think for a lot of people that name has some sort of negative like connotations with it where they're like, I would never check out RuneScape, but these screenshots might change people's minds. So I'll quickly explain what I mean. The first picture has a team of 4 people. You have someone in Ancestral, like max range, max melee, and some dude who's wearing like a Zerker setup. But they're in an underground area as like a party. Then the next picture has 2 people fighting on Last Man Standing. The next picture is the original group of 4 players fighting the Nightmare. Then you have a single player fighting Jad. You have somebody at the dark altar summoning a dragon with the ensouled heads. Got a picture of Fossil Island at the Mushroom. A picture of the Grand Exchange with everything that goes on at the Grand Exchange there, including a gambling bot, but there's no chat. Someone farming at the Farming Guild. You got somebody doing a rooftop agility, and you have someone doing the underwater agility and thieving course on Fossil Island. And it kind of shows that like, oh, RuneScape has like a lot. It has a lot going on, and I think for a new player, especially someone who's looking for a new MMO, I would say the graphics are the one thing that might turn people off, but seeing all the different activities you can do is kind of, I want to say it's like a unique thing in MMOs where every MMO you can do a shit ton of stuff, but RuneScape's on a whole nother level with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to have like an MMO that has not only different things to do, but also completely different ways to play the game. Like there are people in this game who just want to do events and social stuff, like just work on Fashionscape and bank stand in the GE. And there are people who like want to PK. There's people who want to do PVM. There's Ironmen. There's Skillers. There's Pures. So there's really there's so much that you can actually do. Content creators, if you enjoy any kind of social aspect, whether it's PvP, group-based bossing, like there's going to be something in old school for you probably.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't think of any MMO that you could play where you could play the game without ever killing something and just playing it for the non-violent activities.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it's pretty unique like that. And so I'm going to play this little 1-minute video, but it had a cool little trailer that I was watching. And again, I was watching it with like glasses, pretending to be a person who had never played RuneScape before. So let's take a quick peek before we move on.
This is my toughest challenge yet. It's been quite the adventure getting here. From humble beginnings to slaying 3-headed dragons, I've mastered many skills, succeeded in many quests, and met brave warriors along the way. Together, we've endured, and it's all led to this moment. That's my story. What's yours?
Yeah, so there's the Steam release, and on the day the Steam client came out, or the game came out on Steam, Mod Aiza and Mod Sween, they did a little like a Steam welcome party where it's kind of cool. They just kind of toured around Gielinor, showing off little places, and they ended it by bringing everyone into the wilderness. So that was fun to watch.
Luring them for their hard-earned cash already.
That's it. Yeah, teaching them the lessons of old school RuneScape. Okay, let's move on to the next update. We got Shooting Stars pitched. So this is the poll blog, and this is an update that did come out in, I guess, like the RuneScape 2 era, if you want to call it that, back in 2010 or 2009, I think it was. But the idea behind this is after X amount of time, I believe it's every 2 hours, a shooting star or a meteor is going to land somewhere in Gielinor. You will then go hunt it down, and if you can mine it before it disappears, you get a nice chunk of experience, and you get some almost like a new currency called, I think it's called Stardust. And so the way this works is you can finally use the telescope at your player-owned house. And there's 3 types. So you have oak, teak, and mahogany. And depending on what tier of telescope you use, it will give you a more accurate time window for when the shooting star is going to land. So, for instance, the first tier, oak, will give you a window of 24 minutes. So it'll say, like, the next shooting star, this is the example they give. The next shooting star will land on the Fremenic lands or on Lunar Isle between 5 and 29 minutes. But if you use a mahogany, it will give you it in a 2-minute span. So if you look at it, it'll say between 8 minutes and 10 minutes. So it gives you if you're hunting down shooting stars, you're going to want to use the most accurate telescope. So they have a number of different landing sites for these shooting stars to land, which is kind of, if I want to nitpick, I would say it would have been cool to have the shooting stars kind of random. But the way they're doing this is they've got they've got a lot, like at least 50, I want to say. I'm not going to count them, but there's like 50 different landing sites, everywhere from like the desert to the wilderness to Karamja to the Fremenic lands to the Elf lands. There's a whole bunch of spots, but they are kind of they're pre-planned. So what this means is there could be bots. I mean, there might not be, but there could be scouting parties already standing in the area these shooting stars will land, and then they'll tell you, oh, it's actually in this spot.
It feels naive to think that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that probably will. And there'll probably be clan chats where you can figure it out as well, because that's the thing. Multiple people can mine the same shooting star. So this is going to be both free to play and paid to play. That's weird to say, members. But the stars will offer 50% of its usual value in the free to play worlds. All right, so they got a few poll questions here, and the first one was, should we add the shooting stars skilling activity into the game? They want to give a new unique ring. This will be an untradeable ring that gives you a mining boost of +4 when worn. This will stack with other invisible boosts. You will use Stardust, this new item you get from mining these fallen stars. You will use it to give it charges. Each Stardust will add 1 charge up to a maximum of 10,000 charges to the ring. The ring will have a 10% chance of giving an extra ore when mining, and this extra ore will reward the normal experience amount as if it was normally mined. So a lot of people are complaining about is if you're using a crystal pickaxe, you're going to be using the Elven Signet, which reduces the amount of charges you're going to use for the mining for your crystal pickaxe. So there's a question for combining both the Celestial Ring and the Elven Ring so that you don't have to choose between using your crystal pickaxe maybe or using another pickaxe. This way you can still use the crystal pickaxe and you can not worry about going through all your charges so fast. The next reward is called the Star Fragment, and you can use this to recolor your Prospector's outfit to gold recoloring. It looks okay. Nothing crazy, but it looks cool, I suppose. Another reward you can get is a bag full of gems. So similarly to Motherlode Mine, you can purchase these bag full of gems for your chance to make some money back, I guess, with a very rare chance of getting your precious onyx. A 1 in 100 million chance of getting the onyx. That is strange.
I mean, at that point, like, it's not even worth putting in. Like, it'll make one person stay, I guess, but
it's only happened once, as far as I know.
Really?
At Motherlode Mine, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's only happened once that someone's gotten the onyx. I remember it being a huge Reddit post, and that JMod's confirming it.
They love to do those troll drops.
It's like the Arma pieces from Elite
Clue Guardians, yeah.
Yeah, or getting the what was it? It was like an Inferno shard from just normal Hellhounds. It's like 1 in 32,000.
Smoldering Stone.
Yeah, the Smoldering Stone.
Or an Abyssal Dagger from Abbey Demons, like I got. It just was like, wait,
wow.
What?
I've got both of those, I'm pretty sure.
1 in 32,000. I mean, that's a lot more reasonable than 1 in, what did you say, 100 million?
Yeah, 100 million. I had to do a double take there because I was like,
That's a massive difference.
Yeah, I've never that seems like a meme, but I feel like someone's screwing with the wiki there. But moving on to the next reward, this is very similar to Motherlode Mine. You get your soft clay packs. And lastly, it's the essence pack. So this will give you 100 pure essence when opened, which is, for me, I thought this would be something that maybe free-to-plays could get their pure essence this way. It's more enjoyable than actually mining essence, and I think you can only get just normal rune essence as a free-to-play player. But you'll use your stardust you collect while you're mining these to purchase these items. What do you guys think about this new skilling activity?
Carlos, do you want to go first?
Is mining now your new favorite skill?
No, the only thing that I can compare this to that we currently have, and it's not even a good example, is implings, how they kind of float around the upper world. You know what I mean? But this seems, if the experience rates are, but it's not even like that. It's kind of like they're trying to add something. Well, they're obviously taking it from RS3, but let's say they didn't even do that. They're trying to do something like birdhouses, which I think are fantastic. An alternative way to train a skill that's not very fun to train. Before Herbivore and before birdhouses, realistically, the only way to train Hunter was to do chins.
Yeah.
Or black salamanders. And at least the experience rates are okay, but not a very fun activity. So this is kind of, I think, attempting to be like, oh, look, I'm near a shooting scar. Let's go get some mining experience.
Yeah.
But I think the reality of what's going to happen is, because of how sweaty our community is, there's going to be people that make bots and scout things, and there'll be a certain number of people that will always be first to specific locations, and it's going to be turned into a science rather than what it's supposed to be, which is a random happening. Like implings, which are very much random. Like, you can't scout them and stuff, and people do that. They'll scout and they'll buy like dragon imp spawns, but this seems like something that's just going to be exploited if the rates are even reasonable, which I think they are.
I'm actually going to push back on you a little bit.
Sure.
I actually will not have as cynical. Okay, I'm going to be cynical later on, but I won't have a cynical take in terms of like what this will look like in game. I remember in RS2 there used to be something very similar called like, there's this like weekly penguin thing that you can do every week with every update. There would be like this group of hidden penguins in the game world that you would find. And what ended up happening was you could join a CC where people were helping each other find the penguin, and you could ask like, where are the penguins this week, and where's the penguin on like Nada's Knot, and people would be like, oh, it's the bush penguin this week or something. I would like to think, I'd like to think that Jagex has like planned around the breaking down game mechanics into a science that the community always does, and tried to make it so that if you want to do this, like maybe this can be a new fun way of training mining, where instead of like you're staying in the same spot, you join a CC where everybody's just constantly scouting these.
But it doesn't reward you for being first, like for what place you get to the rock?
So they actually think they removed that. Yeah, they removed that because
that it makes you want that works against cooperation. I thought that was the way it was. So if that's the case, then it'd be like everyone's all that encourages you to work by yourself. But if they remove that, then it's probably going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, it was going to be a massive issue because that would make it botted to oblivion. I agree, and I think I like how Jagex has realized that. Here's where I'm going to be cynical though. It seems like this update is going to be decent. It's fine. It's a like 5 or 6 out of 10 on my scale, which is actually like an above average update for me. Maybe it's a 5 average update, but I am so tired of getting rehashed RS3 content in this game. And I know like what Jagex is kind of doing, because I think they realized a couple years ago they had this fork in the road moment. And I think what they decided to do is go down the path of, what if we were RS3 but we didn't make the mistakes they made, and we just like improved the game with hindsight. So I don't know if that's like the exact direction they're going. I don't know if that's a conscious decision they made, but that's what it feels like they're doing, where it's like, let's be RS3 but in a good way, without the mistakes they did with evolution of combat, removing the wilderness, microtransactions, all those stupid updates. but I'm looking at RS3, and for the first time, I'm like envious of the content they're getting. And I went back and I listened to our RuneFest recap of 2019, preparing for this when I read the Shooting Stars blog. And the last RuneFest we had, which was in 2019, RS3 blew old school RuneScape out of the water.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah.
They announced like 2 PVM pieces of content. They announced a totally new skill. They announced a complete change to the game engine, which like they introduced like way more responsive clicking and stuff like that. So the game's actually way smoother to play. I'm not sure how much of those entered the game, but I know that I think just today or yesterday, they introduced another piece of PVM content. So they've clearly been working on RS3. So I don't think you could say, oh, it's a pandemic, so Jagex is just like unable to put out great updates. Ever since Nightmare, we've actually not gotten, I'll take that back. Since the Hallowed Sepulchre and the Darkmire updates, we've not gotten substantial updates to this game. All we've gotten are the Allure of Combat achievements, which is just different ways of doing the same content and incentivizing you to do it. We've gotten, the most recent update is 6 Jads, which congratulations, is just a minigame based on old content. And now we're getting Shooting Stars, which is RS3 content, just rehashed and made OSRS appropriate. And I'm just like really disappointed at the laziness sometimes of the people who are behind the content of this game. I'm not saying we need Raids 3 tomorrow. I'm just saying, like, even if it's not PVM content, there's actually not that much that's been in the game. How many Bounty Hunter updates have there been since the last bit of substantial content? I have no idea. But it feels like Jagex is not doing, they're not retooling old content, and they're not really putting out new content at a remotely fast rate, where we're just getting a bunch of like novice level quests here and there. We're getting, congratulations, yeah, we're getting a 6 Jads minigame that like once the novelty wears off, you're going to be bored with it, and it's not going to add much depth in terms of your gameplay. Where are we going? I don't know. I know this sounds really negative and stuff, but I genuinely like, even combat achievements, everybody's excited for those, but why should we be that excited? Like, when you put it in perspective, we're not getting anything new with the updates. We're getting nice new rewards. We're getting a cool Slayer helm, but it's the same content. We're just going to be doing the same Zulrah of Vorkath, Chambers of Zarek, Theater of Blood. You know what I mean?
Oh, I totally agree.
When it comes to like the Shooting Stars update specifically, I just wish that when Jagex wanted new content, instead of looking over at RS3 and being like, what kind of RS3 update can we pull out of the bag and put into this game now, because we're running out of ideas for what we should do. Let's go ahead and add this skilling mechanic.
It seems like lack of imagination on developers' part.
The best pieces of content in old school RuneScape, in my opinion, are the ones that have no relation to RS3 or very little relation. Like Fossil Island.
Oh, I love Fossil
Island.
Really
good update, really deep update that everybody.
It's so good.
Yeah. That's there. I don't think Fossil Island has an equivalent in RS3. Zaya, totally unique to OSRS. They don't have Zaya in the game world in RS3. And those are like 2 of the deepest parts of the game. So for almost a year now, we've gotten one massive update, and that's pretty much it. And I know it's in a pandemic, but RS3 is churning out updates. It's the same exact developer, so it's not like they've got access to a different studio or something. Or I don't even know how like Jagex splits their resources in terms of updates, but if RS3 can do it, why can't the OSRS developers do it?
I think I wonder if it boils down a bit to where, like, sometimes I wonder if the pull system is like a double-edged sword, where it's great that we can vote on things that we think will be great for the game, or stuff that looks like fun, and we can downvote stuff that might seem strange to bring into the game.
It almost certainly is.
And then with RuneScape 3, they're like, you know what? We're just going to pump out stuff, and you guys can take it or leave it. Go play old school RuneScape if it bothers you. But I agree, where RuneScape 3 has, I see so many, I have a whole list. So I have this little notebook here where I put down little topics we can talk about if updates are a little bit lacking. We're a little bit of ramblers, so we haven't really got to them. But one of them is all the cool shit I see in RuneScape 3 would be so cool in old school RuneScape. They got stuff like the big game hunter, where you basically have to hunt to find bosses, and then you have to go then kill that boss. I don't remember exactly how it works, but I remember reading it when it first came out, and they do get cool stuff. And I agree. They seem to rehash the shooting star because they know it's an easy pass. People are gonna love it. We don't have to worry about it being voted no.
So I'm looking at RS3 right now, and I'm looking at the updates that they've gotten. Just yesterday, they got this weird new set of dinosaurs called Rex Matriarchs or something. Before that, they got a new intermediate quest. Then they got a new like Elder Gods quest, which I think is like their top tier storyline or something. They've announced a project to completely redesign player avatars. This is only in the last 30 days, by the way. So just to give some perspective, a few months ago they came out with Mahogany Homes. I didn't even realize that was they came out with construction contracts in RS3. So even Mahogany Homes is an RS3 relic. So it's just like you're looking at these updates, and yes, there's a bunch of like microtransaction. Like, hey, there's a new costume. So much of RS3 is just being built on a monthly basis, and we're getting like nothing. It's actually pretty sad considering the split in the player base. Like,
I'm always surprised when we do get something, because I'll watch like YouTube videos about RuneScape 3, or I'll sometimes look stuff on RuneScape 3 just because I'm curious. I have enjoyed that game in the past. It's not my thing, but I can understand why people like it. And I'm always surprised when we get something new, and then I find out, the Twisted Bow is a ripoff of a RuneScape 3 item that works the exact same way.
As is the Scythe.
Yeah, they Rigor and Augury already exists in RuneScape 3. Even so many things. Even with Darkmire, when Sins of the Father, you get that's not the Scythe, that flail, that Avanda's flail, I think it's called. That is exactly the exact same thing as in RuneScape 3, but the RuneScape 3 item is way cooler. They have the Avanda's flail, looks the exact same, but the difference is when you kill vampires with it, after you kill like 100 vampires, that the Avanda's flail gets perks that make it stronger, and the more vampires you kill, the more perks you get, and eventually it caps out. But I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, what? The whole whack of stuff, and sometimes I'll see it on the Reddit where it's like, oh, we get this new item, and someone's like, oh yeah, this is the ballista is pretty similar to
the hand cannon.
Hand cannon, right? And you're like, interesting.
Specifically when they're releasing weapons that are going to be best in slot, I don't mind that they are using RS3 as a background, because like Magpie's said, they don't want to make mistakes in old school, because this is where a lot of the revenue is and the player base moving forward. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to ruin the game by making some catastrophic mistake. So what they're doing is playing it safe by saying, oh, well, this item, we kind of know how it works in RuneScape 3, which obviously it's a different game to RuneScape, but you can use them for some comparisons. So I think that's probably why they tend to go down that road, because it's safe.
And I should mention, I don't necessarily think it's like a bad thing to rip off RuneScape 3 updates. I just think that, like, if we're, as Magpie says, if we're not going to get a whole lot of updates, why can't we rip off more of the cool RuneScape 3 updates? They've got player-owned ports, they've got animal husbandry, they've got a boss that you can kill it over and over again, and the more times you kill it, the better the chance of the loot you get from it. Like, they have this whole...
That's really cool.
Yeah, I guarantee that mechanic is going to come to old school within the next, like, 365 days. Guarantee, like, I will bet 5 mil that they're going to have some kind of, like, it gets harder but more rewards over time the more you farm it.
I'm surprised it isn't in it already, you know? Like,
yeah, me too. That seems like something that's very obvious. But you see, is it a question of whether it's bad to rip from RS3, or they're just choosing the wrong content?
It's a question of them just being lazy and not actually like pushing good ideas forward.
Their creative boundaries.
Yeah, I don't mind them taking some ideas from RS3, especially like you said, when it comes to like best in slot weapons, when you want to make sure everything's balanced, that's fine. Go ahead and learn from what RS3 did right and what it did wrong. But when it just comes to like looking ahead at the next year, the clan update, which we're like, this is a good segue to, but I was so hyped for a proper clan update, and what we got is a little bit disappointing, to be honest. Like, feels really, really lazy.
Do you guys have any final thoughts?
No, not really. Well, I'm sure this topic will be revisited throughout the year, so it's not over yet. But it was a good start to the discussion.
And I should say, I'm looking forward to the Fallen Star update, the Shooting Star update, whatever you want to call it. I think any new alternative to training, any skill is good. When's my thieving Falling Star is coming? I don't know. Give me it, but I'll take it.
Yeah, especially when Magpies and I just insta-said mining when you said what's the worst skill in the game. So.
Yeah. So
there was no hesitation there.
Yeah, so the more ways you can train it, I'll take it. So it's I guess that's not the problem. I guess it's more the principle. But yeah.
Or like without Sepulcher, I probably would have said agility, right? But options are good when it comes to skilling.
When you get like this new fun activity, it can make a skill go from the worst to the best, depending on how much fun it is. And then that just takes a little bit of effort, which again, sometimes we wonder where's the holdup on cool updates. But yeah, let's move on to the clan update, because while it looks cool, I look at it, I'm like, yeah, this looks great in comparison to what we have. I've played a bunch of different MMOs in the past, so sometimes I compare it to what I've seen in other games, and again, like, so I'll go through in a second, but the guild system World of Warcraft has, the guild system that Guild Wars 1 has, which is something I played when I was like, 15 years ago, was way more fleshed out than even what we're about to get. So they did show off the clan progress update in their last stream, or maybe not the last stream, but in one of the streams they did recently, and they have a dev blog here going through it. So the Grand Exchange is going to get a little area that's going to be like the clan hub. This is where you're going to be able to create clans. There's going to be a portal for clan housing. Yes, there's going to be clan housing, but it's way less fun than it sounded when they introduced it. So the way this is going to work is there going to be in your clan chat tab, there's going to be three new tabs. You'll have your friends chat, which is basically what we have now. The clan chat system is going to be turned into the friends chat or the group chat. Then they're going to have a clan tab. When you're in a clan, that's where you'll see all the people in your clan as well. And then they'll have another clan tab for clans you want to be a guest in, which is pretty neat. And you can still talk in all three of these simultaneously. The way you do it is 1/ for friends chat, 2/ for clan chat, 3/ for the guest clan chat. Kind of weird, but I guess you kind of have to make do.
That's going to mess some people up. I already get screwed over with tab and / as is.
Yeah, true. That's going to be interesting. So anyone can make a clan, and the name you choose, it won't have to be like Clan Dills. You can now make the name like Wild Boys, Wild Gals, Wild CC Clan. You can make you'll have that unique name. They said they're going to figure out a way so that people can't snipe the name of already popular clans. Let's say like, Wild CC, that's the clan chat we hang out in for the podcast. Let's say this happens. The minute this update happens, somebody jumps in and steals Wild CC. Seems
like they're talking about things like Rot and Blazers and Oblivion and the big clans in the game.
Yeah, and Heartless, you might let me know if you remember this from League of Legends when they came out with the teams system, or I think a clan system. I can't remember what it was called, but when it came out, people would snipe the clan tags of like really popular esports teams, and they would sell it to them.
It was huge.
Yeah, for like thousands of dollars, because like, I can't think of any league names, but
certain streamers would like hoard specific tags, and like if you sub to them on Twitch, whatever, they would give you one of them. And like depending on what tier you're in, so it turned it into an economy.
Yeah, and people kind of do that now with like player names, where people are going to hold popular names on alts, and then there's a market for them.
Yep, low letter names in any game, basically.
Oh yeah, totally. All right, so at the Grand Exchange, you can make your clan. There's like an area you can make the clan. You can then advertise the clan, and you can set like specific stats for the like, oh, I don't want somebody to join this clan unless they have 2,000 total level. So you can set actual like requirements to join your clan. The way the ranking system is going to work in clans, they have a whole whack of different names that you can assign to different rankings or different titles. So they have, you know, your usual, you have the marshal, general, colonel, major, they have administrator, captain, all those sort of like, I don't know what you would call them, army rankings.
Yeah. Military titles.
Yeah, military titles. But they also have like gem rankings. So they have like jade, sapphire, emerald. So you could, if you wanted to, you could use that. And they even have like iron, bronze, steel, mithril, those rankings. So like you can kind of customize the way your ranking system will work for your own clan.
Yep.
There's gonna be a total of 17 slots. So you can have 17 different ranks. You know, you could have somebody as like let's say if you have the iron rank, you are a raid teacher of some sorts, right? You could kind of have that set up. You can kind of describe what your clan is. So if somebody wants to apply for it, they can look at the clans, they can see what your interests are. So an example is you could put like newbie friendly, socializing, boss hunting, castle wars, and soul wars. So somebody could look at it and be like, oh, this clan is very appealing for how I like to play the game. And you can even set a clan world, a clan home world. So people can know right away, hey, because like we have a while back, somebody did a poll to figure out what a clan homeworld would work for the CC for the podcast, and it landed on 386. But a lot of people don't realize that's the home.
No
world.
one really plays in that world, so
yeah, and nobody even knows. And sometimes someone's like, does this clan have one?
The real problem is our CC specifically is spread out across all sorts of different countries in the world. So we tend to stay, like I play West Coast, you guys probably play East Coast. Mm-hmm. The Brits and our Portuguese and our German players
I exclusively play on Australian worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Australian PvP worlds only. Do we even have an Australian PvP world?
I think it.
So I would say most of my friends. This is a weird thing, and I wonder if the data would spread out across players. But most of my friends that I have met on this game that aren't from the CC are from either my home world or around where I play, like in the West Coast worlds. Like 444 to 446 are my best ping worlds, so I usually stay on there. Mm-hmm. I would say most people I've met are from the West Coast because I just talk to them and then we're friends, and then they happen to also use those worlds for good ping.
Sure, right, yeah. Okay.
And I'd imagine that would be the same for someone like you guys. If you play East Coast worlds, probably most people you meet outside the CC will be East Coasters, unless you happen to meet them at some stable raids bank or something like that.
Yeah, and again, it'll depend. Like we put 386. I don't think that's the most optimal world for me. But if I'm rune crafting, I don't really care. I'll go hang out in there, and then maybe if someone else is rune crafting, we'll bump into each other. And it's always fun to see a little dot that you recognize, and oh, who's that? They're at the GE. That's what's fun about having a clan homeworld. It's just running past someone else and being like, oh, I know this person. So there's a bunch of cool ways you can use to kind of label your clan. I mentioned like newbie friendly, socializing. They have like PvP, pures, raiding, slayer, skilling, role playing, free to play. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. So you can really, if you want a very specific clan, there's a bunch of PVM clans, they might stick to like just boss hunting and just raiding. Same if somebody's like a free-to-play pure clan, you could hit pure, PvP, free-to-play. So there's a bunch of cool stuff you can kind of do there. So then they talk about some engine work. The main reason they're talking about engine work was a lot of people are waiting for Group Iron Man. If you don't know what Group Iron Man is, it was pitched in the RuneFest Magpies you brought up earlier.
Pitched in 07.
Way back. But it's a way for multiple people to play Iron Man mode together, so that if you get duplicate of a drop, you can hand it off to somebody in your little party. The problem was they aren't able to implement this until they did this clan update because of the engine work involved. So they just mentioned, hey, once this is done, we can roll out Group Iron Man mode. The final thing that they mention here is the clan halls. So I am a huge sucker for like player housing and clan housing. I think that stuff's really cool. I love the idea of the citadel that they have in RuneScape 3, where people can build up this clan citadel together as a clan. Although the problem is it became like a daily scape where you had to go there, mine for an hour to get your quota, and do some wood cutting to build up the clan housing. Anyways, though, they wanted to bring clan housing into the game. It sounds cool, but when they described it, it sounded a little bit less cool. So they said the clan housing will be the clan hall will be a place that your clan can go to hang out, and you can grab a beer and just shoot the shit. To me, that says this is going to be a pub of some sorts with one NPC who's going to sell you $2 beers, and you're literally only able to go there for like maybe a drop party or something. But
yeah,
that my takeaway was it's not going to be like super customizable. I hope it is. It might be, but they did very little explanation for that, so it has me to believe it's just going to be like a random structure. But yeah, there's basically the progress they're at with this clan update. A little bit of a rundown. Sounds way better than what we've got, but my disappointment comes from there's so much more they could do. They could have had a calendar so that you could set when your events are. They could have a message of the day so that you could be like, today's raid day.
Calendar. That's so good.
Yeah, and it's happened in other MMOs that they've had it for a long time. It makes me wonder why. Yeah, I'm sure there's, again, engine reasons.
I haven't played a lot of other MMOs, so I'm not an expert on what is and isn't a good clan system. I just know that whatever we currently have sucks. So I'll pass on to you guys what you think about this update. But it seems overall like disappointed. Hey, it's better than what we've got, but it's still this. I mean, there's so much more they could do with it.
Yeah, I'm going to be optimistic and hope that it's a good foundation for future updates. But unfortunately, I don't think that'll be the case. I hope it's not something where they put this in and forget it. Because I was thinking, like, if they were able to take players' feedback, it would be so nice to add like construction integration with the clan halls, but instead of making it like, this is where we're going to have drop parties and this is where someone's going to max like 3 years from now and then nobody is ever going to visit it, make it so that when you teleport to a POH, you have an option to teleport to a clan hall instead, and you can kind of like benefit if you have like high construction players in your clan, and you can basically like use some upgrades that they add. If you don't have a max POH, for example, maybe you like pay some money every time you use it so that you can benefit from not having those levels. But, just something like that where it's like, okay, now I can restore my spec and my stats over here, but I'm going to run into a lot of clan members because we're all going to be on this world and we're all going to teleport to the clan hall after we do like a Zulrah event or something, or when we do a corp event. That's going to be massive, for example. Mm-hmm. Maybe we have like a pet section where it's like a clan-wide menagerie, things like that, where construction would help. I just thought that would be
that's so funny. Or you could just have a huge collection of them.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, or just like a list of like leaderboards for like boss counters, kill counts, collection logs of different clan members that you can go through and like read, and it's almost like reading the clan's history.
Yep, that'd be sweet. Reading each other's collection logs, seeing who's a spoon, who isn't.
Yeah, trolling you for your constant drops. Pretty much things like that, where it's like that'll actually be really, really fun to do. But now I like the ability to like customize the clan and the ranks, but it does seem like there's a lot more that they could do, which would inspire like more engagement with the clan system. Because like for all we talked about where OSRS is a social game, a lot of the value is very much like player sandbox driven, where it's not really like the game mechanics itself like other games. Like for example, you look at a game, I don't know, Dills, you recently played Destiny, so you look at a game like Destiny where it's like the integration of like teams into the content is really well done, where you have fire teams and it's the core gameplay loop is like joining these teams and having a strong matchmaking system. Whereas in old school, you don't even have anyone that tells you what clans are really. So I'm glad they added the clan hub and make it like a part of the gameplay where it's like, okay, now this player who's been playing on mobile for 6 months and hasn't talked much only now finds out like the true value of having a clan chat instead of like being in, I don't know, some random streamer's CC hoping for like e-girl pictures. I don't know. I'm just riffing, but
Yeah.
hopefully they can like build on it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I feel like a lot of our clan system, and I'd imagine this is for a lot of games, is just so linked through Discord these days.
That's the thing. Like, why? Again, so there's people going to come up with reasons why anti-gold farming, anti-scamming, luring. But why isn't there a space that you could be like, hey, join our Discord, and here's the link?
I'm surprised there's no RuneLite plugin that's where clans can post their Discord links.
Well, I think the issue with that is I've always been wary of like games relying on other services or like other platforms. Like for example, what if in 2012 like RS3 added like Twitter?
I know what you mean, but I mean 90% of our player base plays on RuneLite, so
yeah.
No, I know but what I'm saying is like if the game officially like partnered with Discord and stuff, like what if Discord isn't around forever?
It's like Ventrilo, right? Who uses Ventrilo anymore?
Yeah, like if this was done 10 years ago, it might have been on TeamSpeak. And then...
Yeah, I know, I agree with you, but yeah, it is tough for them to make those kind of official things.
Do you guys remember MIRC?
No.
Oh, back in the day, you download SwiftKit, which RuneLite kind of looks like SwiftKit or Swift Switch. It changed its name a bunch, but there'd be a little thing at the bottom. You join MIRC, like chat rooms, and that's where you join your clan chats, and it would be it was.
You see, we should really just partner with MSN because that's the real old 07 experience.
Oh yeah. Some AOL.
And then whenever I want to like raid with you guys and you guys are ignoring me, I'll just go offline and online and spam that so it shows my thing pop up a dozen times. You guys,
you'll just poke us on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there isn't a section in the clan. Like again, we can go. I'm surprised that this isn't added. I'm surprised that this isn't added. But like,
yeah, at least it's something. Like what we have right now is just a glorified group messenger, and it's not even glorified because yeah, we have ranks, but we can't even ban people, and we're the highest rank. We can't even rank people so that they can raid. Yeah. You have to actually jump on Wild CC, the level 3 free to play, just to give people ranks to raid, and that's probably super annoying. Like why can't like you as a top ranking player, Dills?
Yeah, people will message me to be like, "Hey, can I get a rank up for raiding?" Yeah. And if I'm at work, I'll write them down on a piece of paper, and I'm like, after work, I'll go ahead and rank up all these people. But
yeah.
And I think this brings back to the shooting stars that we were mentioned, that Magpies you had brought up. But this is great as a foundation. But the worry is like they might add this and be like, "Boom, we gave you the clan update. Okay, let's move on to the next update." And while we're like.
Exactly.
A lot of content like that happens in this game, so it's a worrying trend. We'll have to revisit this again because I'm sure they're going to once we've got to toy around with it a little bit too. That'll be nice. Yeah,
ending off on like something being more optimistic. This is much better than what we have. This is going to make things really interesting, and it brings the conversation. As a podcast, not really a clan. Do we make a clan? Do we stick to the friends chat and let people have the freedom to join a clan? That's going to be a conversation as well. So I'll probably be coming back, talking with, you two, and then also coming to some of the people that do hang out in our Discord and clan chat to see what they think. So that's it for the dev blogs. The last thing we're going to talk about this is community chatter related. It's a world record was complete. This week, the first hardcore Iron Man soloed Theater of Blood. So shout out to AColdOne for that. I think it was like a grueling 2 hours, where he had completed it.
Yeah.
So I missed the whole lead up until I saw right when he was on Verzik, right at the end, because people were talking about it in the clan chat, and I wasn't even aware it was going on, but. It seemed pretty hectic. Did you have a chance to check it out?
Yeah, so I caught it, like, I didn't catch it in real time, but I caught the replays, and it's insane. AColdOne is, like, probably the best, hands down, the best, Theater of Blood soloer that I know, so I'm not surprised that he got it first.
Okay. Yeah, it was really cool. When I watched it, like, he had Verzik down. I was convinced he could do it with his eyes closed because he knew every single thing he had to do I mean, obviously he practiced it so much, but it was like so many cool strats where there was a strategy where he was just walking in like a little square every tick for 15 minutes, waiting for Verzik's health to go down, killing the Nilokas.
Yeah, that's the solo mechanic. That's how you do P2 in a solo.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And it was really cool. And yeah, he had the like watching it. It was intense at first, and then you're just like, first off, you make one mistake, you're dead. But the way he did the fight, you were like, wow. I feel like I could write down how this boss works, because the way he's interacting with it is showing like the step-by-step method of how this boss works, the cycles and all this stuff.
Yeah. So generally, unlike Chambers, Theater of Blood doesn't scale below 3 people. So if you do a solo, you're doing it with the same amount of HP that every boss has as a trio.
Mm-hmm.
So by default, you're going to be punching above your weight. But because of the way some of the mechanics work, P2 lasts like a good 40, 50 minutes sometimes, where, like you said, what you have to do is Verzik, if you get her down to a certain percentage of her HP, she spawns these crabs that heal her after a set amount of time if you don't kill them enough. But when you're in a solo, you actually physically can't out DPS them. By the time you finish killing them, you won't have enough damage on the boss before the next set of crabs spawns. So what you have to do in a solo, which is why you'll see a lot of streamers do this, you have to basically sit there for 15 minutes and just kill the purple Nilo that spawns sometimes, because any damage that the purple Nilo does won't proc the next part of the fight where the red Nilos come out at 35% HP. So that's why you have to like stand around and just wait for more purple crabs to spawn so you can slowly whittle down her health. And the entire time you have to basically like tick eat the zaps that she throws at you for 50 damage. It's not fun. That alone, that is the only reason why I don't do solo TOB, because that, and there's like no incentive for me to actually go for it beyond just like the flex. But
yeah, it
is a really, 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 really hard fight, and like you make one mistake and it's like the Inferno. You just like reset hours of progress. So it's super unforgiving.
And it was really cool to see. And I was watching it, and in my head I'm like, you know what? When he completes this, I'm gonna take the Twitch clip. I'm going to play it on the podcast. Maybe I'll do it. But he beat it, and he was just like, "Yep, all right, I beat it. That's cool."
Yeah. And he actually did it with like a Warhammer spec just for the fun of it.
Which is crazy. So it wasn't a huge freak out, but he had mentioned he had done it so many times on his other account that it just felt like another solo on his other account. It didn't really feel like the hardcore Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then tragically, his hardcore Iron Man died the following day going to the corrupted gauntlet.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know it was a dangerous death for hardcore Iron Mans. That's a weird one.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't seem
I just
like
feel like at that point he was like done with the account, so he was willing to take more risks and stuff. Like I watched the hardcore Iron Man death clip as well, and like he definitely could have survived, I think, but he just
he said he did what he wanted to do. That his goal was to solo Theater of Blood. Now that he had completed it, he was like, okay, I'll go do Corrupted Gauntlet just for the flex. But his account was done. He never really had the goal for Corrupted Gauntlet, so
yeah.
He did what he set out to, so congrats to him. That was cool. That was a world first, too, and it was pretty exciting to watch. A lot of people tuned in for that one.
Yeah. I think he said, like, he'd scouted out the world for weeks, basically, just to find, like, a world that was really stable that wouldn't lag for 2 hours straight.
Oh,
and there was a moment in the run where he actually lagged.
Ooh, could you imagine? That's crazy. So that's what I got there for community chatter. So yeah, again, congrats to him. Really cool stuff to see when you see these milestones hit. But that's about it for news. So we'll move on. Let's move on to the Grand Exchange. We're going to go to the Grand Exchange, the sellout section of this podcast. So if you got a little bit of extra money lying around and you've been thinking, hey, how can I support the show? Well, we've got two ways of doing that now. You can go to patreon.com/thewildernesspodcast. There's a few different tiers there with various awards, I suppose, but you also can become the supporter of the week at some point. So our supporter of the week today is Dean Russin. So I want to thank you very much for supporting this show. It truly does help keep the lights on here at the Wilderness Podcast headquarters. From time to time, I've said that if there's ever any like bonus content, or I've started this series called the OSRS Rambles. I think we got 3 episodes out right now. The first one was with none other than Magpies himself. But so those episodes, when they do come out, they're going to be early access on the Patreon, just so that I can give back to all the people who are supporting the show. Because, like I said, it does help a ton. Anyways, I've done one with Magpies. I've done one with Rendy, which was really cool. I did one with a friend of mine, Crown Legacy. And I've got another one coming out. I've got something planned this week, actually. So I'm pretty excited for that one. And I do plan to do more of those. So I do appreciate it. But when I say early access, it will come out on the regular feed after, I don't know, X amount of time. So it's just a way so that I can give back to the people who do support the show. So again, thank you, Dean Russin, and thank you to every single person who has supported the show in the past and is currently supporting the show right now, and all the future supporters. Really, it's amazing, and I can't thank you guys enough. But hey, some people don't like Patreon, and I totally understand. I've opened up another site. It's called buymeacoffee.com/dills, where you can do a one-time payment of a coffee. They're like they're like mocha latte frappes, the grande size from Starbucks, because it's a $5 pledge for a coffee, which is a little expensive if you ask me. But hey, you can buy me a coffee for the week, which again we do truly appreciate. So I want to thank iRoll and Timbuktu25 for buying me a coffee this week. But regardless, if you listen to the show and you've been thinking like, hey, I'm not hanging out in a clan chat, I need some people to play with, we've got a clan chat in-game with so many amazing people that I do say if you're not currently in a clan chat, you should either find one or try joining ours and seeing if it's something that you enjoy to be in. You can come hang out with us at WildCC. If you want to send us an email, ask us a question, tell us a funny story, we'll read it on the air. You can send us the email at thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitter is at thewildernessrs, if Twitter is more your thing. And of course, Discord, which is found in the description of each episode, or you can find it on Twitter, linked there. A little fun thing that I got up to last week, the boys at OSRS Weekly, it's another RuneScape podcast. They invited me to come on their show. So if you want to come listen to that little collaboration, go check out their podcast. I think I was on the most recent episode, so you can go give that one a listen there. It was a lot of fun. Really did enjoy that. And hoping to do some more collabs with other fellow podcasters. So more on that in the future. Okay. Do you guys have I wasn't really asking you guys this before, but I probably should. This is what podcasters do. Do you guys have anything you want to plug?
I have a dead Twitter if you want to follow it. I actually don't use it. No, just come and join the Discord. That's my only plug. We've had a whole number of people I've noticed since I said it last week. A bunch of new people coming in and learning how to raid, or just hanging out with us and seeing what content we're doing. Come in, join the Discord. The link is in the show notes, or in the what do you call it? The information below, wherever you get the podcast.
I think show notes. That's what the podcasters say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in the show notes. So come and join us, and don't be afraid to come in and join.
If you're new from Steam, love to have you. There's so many people here who'll teach you everything you need to know and more.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Heartless, do you usually have a song for us? Do you have one for us this week?
I sure do. So this one comes from Grizzly Wizard. I remember I was doing a little bit of Zammy, and there was a bunch of people talking about the songs, and Grizzly Wizard wants to request Lament for the Hallowed. And it's, it comes from the Hallowed Sepulchre, I believe.
Oh, interesting. Lament from the Hallowed.
Or Unlocked During Sins of the Father. That's what the That's what the official message is.
Oh, yep. A player unlocks this while arriving on the Icene graveyard, and it can be heard during the end of the scene. This track was originally released in September 14th, 2015, but played during the quest The Lord of Vampirium and RuneScape. Oh man, they're just reusing so many stuff, but hey, we'll take it.
It's a good song.
That's the note we'll end on.
Yep. Take it easy.
Bye.
Toodaloo.